Sometimes the biggest stories aren't in the massive 1,000-page reports. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight, in just a few carefully chosen words. Today, we're going to do just that. We're going to deconstruct just 3 lines from an official document and see what they really tell us about a conflict that spanned 2 decades. Let's get into it.
So this is it. This is our entire artifact for today. 3 short, simple statements. At first glance, it seems pretty straightforward, right? But what if I told you that buried in this text is a huge story about scale, about resolve, and about some really crucial game-changing context?
So that's the big question we're tackling. How do we pull apart these simple lines to really get inside the mindset at the very beginning of a conflict that would go on to define a generation?
All right, let's start by digging into that second line, the one that really sets the stage for the enormous scale of what was being undertaken here.
Okay, first things first, a quick bit of context. You see that acronym, ISAF? That stands for the International Security Assistance Force. Basically, this was the huge, multinational, NATO-led mission in Afghanistan we're talking about.
Now just let these 3 words sink in. Its longest mission. Think about what that really means. NATO was founded way back in 1949. This is a military alliance that existed through the entire Cold War. For them to label this mission as their longest ever undertaking, well, that is an absolutely staggering statement about its sheer size and scope. And check this out. This visual really puts it into perspective. This long bar, that represents the nearly 20 years the ISAF mission would actually last. And that tiny little mark way over on the left, that's where we are. That's when our document was written. So at this moment, it wasn't a known fact that it would be the longest mission. That was a future that was still completely unwritten. So that covers the scale. Now let's move on to the second key element here. The official promise, the declaration, made by the NATO command.
You know, it really doesn't get much more blunt or more absolute than this. Just 4 words. We will not fail. This isn't, we'll do our best or we hope to succeed. No, this is a declaration of pure certainty. It's a public, ironclad promise of success, designed to project unshakable confidence to the entire world. And when you put these 2 ideas right next to each other, you can almost feel the tension. On one hand, you have this incredibly bold, almost audacious promise of guaranteed success. And on the other, you have the acknowledgement of a historic marathon-level challenge. The stakes just could not be any higher. But there's one final piece of the puzzle. It's the very first line of our document. And as you're about to see, this single tiny piece of context, well, it changes our understanding of everything else.
21. Before I tell you what it means, just look at the number itself. In the grand, sweeping story of a 20-year war, what could the number 21 possibly signify?
And here it is, the big reveal, day 21. That statement about undertaking its longest mission and that absolute promise of we will not fail was all documented just 3 weeks into the conflict. Suddenly, that phrase, its longest mission, isn't a historical fact looking back. It's a bold declaration looking forward into a vast, unknown future.
So here's the crucial part. When you finally put all 3 of these pieces together, the incredible scale, the ironclad resolve, and the critical timing, the full story that was locked inside our little artifact finally comes into focus. Those 3 little lines actually reveal 3 powerful truths. They show us the sheer scale of it, the recognition that this was a massive, generational commitment. They capture the absolute resolve needed for a mission like that, a public promise of success. And, most importantly, they give us the perspective, putting us right there at the beginning, on day 21, when all of this was declared with the entire path ahead completely unseen.
Which leaves us with a final, really fascinating question to think about. This document is like a time capsule of boundless certainty, right at the start of a long, complicated road. It forces you to ask, how does our understanding of history, of promises, and of outcomes really change when we strip away all the hindsight and just see an event the way people saw it at the very beginning?